and begins to become a havoc for the child itself, so that ultimately he grows with these psychic traumas and become distorted in his attitudes. That is wrong wherever, in whatever form it is exercised. The ideal way is to love the child and to bring him so close to you that to earn your pleasure becomes a dedication of the child. Is dedicated to earn your pleasure, and that can happen. I know this happens easily if the child knows that you love the child and you are the only source of reliance at every time of crisis. Then the child would always look up to you for finding approval in your eyes. And this is exactly what is taqwa in relation to God. If you have taqwa, then you always look up to God's pleasure, and that carves your way and sets you on the right path. So there is no need to to wait for the wrath of God to set you right. So that is why if you train your children aright in the same style as your attitude to God is defined in the Holy Quran, not that you are God to the child, but the attitude remains the same, then there is no need of any pushing whatsoever. The child would always try to please you because it will be his pleasure to remain on the right side of you. And as far as the overloading is concerned, it is just a misconcept of the people that if a child is taught more than one or two languages, he is being overloaded. The psychologists who have worked long in this field and experimented, they give us with full authority, they tell us with their full authority of experience that a child can easily be taught 6 languages simultaneously without being overloaded. And if you wait for him to grow older, the more difficult it would become for him to learn more than one language. And if you don't teach him any other language up to 12, then it will be very difficult. So if you teach him at least 2-3 languages simultaneously right from the beginning, then even when he becomes adult, he still would have the capacity and capability of learning more languages. So because you are born linguists, that sort of thing. Everybody is born alike, but some have been trained right from the early childhood to learn languages, and they acquire that special knack in the brain. The computer is attuned to that art and the work. So there is no pushing in that as far as loading with languages is concerned. There is no pushing. That's helping children. Right.
Well, Ahmadi teachings are verified in Quran and Hadith. I'm wondering what the non-Ahmadi teachings, what are they based their teachings on?
Non-Ahmadi?
Yeah, non-Ahmadi.
See, everybody claims to have based his teaching on the Holy Quran and on the tradition. There is no difference of opinion on that. But how you read it, what inferences you draw, it is there that the differences lie. And what attitudes have been bred into you by the past generations and the course of history through which these generations have gone through, they have left their marks. And some marks are left so permanently and indelibly that reading the same verses, they always draw, from our point of view, wrong conclusions. Because if your attitude is despotic, if you have no shame in appearing as a man of, given to terrorism and this and that, if you have not that sense in you, whenever a similar verse would come your way which reminds you of this thing, without reading the context before and after, you say, "No, here is my license. I can kill, I can murder, I can force anybody to change his religion," and that remains a sort of potent, latent power with such Muslims. they normally do not use it. But whenever they run counter to some other movement, then these things are, brought up and raised from the dead, so to say. But they're always lying dormant in their attitudes. So when, for instance, what happened in Iran, it was not suddenly born as such. The same was the Shia religion, the same were the sources, the attitudes were the same, but they remained dormant under the Shah. And suddenly when somebody invoked those images and those views, etc., they came up and surfaced, and they were so horrible, and they had been throughout the same. So what happened in Pakistan vis-a-vis Ahmadis is happening now many times more vis-a-vis Shias, and also from Shias to Sunnis. Mass scale murders and arson and destruction of their places of worship, etc. This goes on unnoticed by the world because both sides are at fault. Both sides are fighting it out among themselves. But because Ahmadis do not hit back, they are always on the receiving end. So that is why this is pronounced, this fact of cruelty and crime. But they are doing the same things to each other. So it runs deep into their training of the many hundred years. But they have no root in Islam. So when we talk of Islam and the Quran, they have no debate with us on these issues. They say the only answer is that you must be murdered, you must be put to death. There is no dialogue between you and us because we know you are kafir. So no dialogue with kafir. Same thing, isn't it? But unfortunately, this is exactly what it is.
So in many countries, there's old sayings that seems to be a lot of truth in them. In this country, there's one that says that only the good die young. Does that mean that older people aren't good?
No. This is, I think, exactly the opposite. Only the good die young. Maybe it is. It indicates a certain attitude in the society. If somebody is alive, he always offers himself for criticism of the society, and with the age, he is more censured, until he is riddled with the allegations and things. Some of them may be true, some may be wrong. But he unfortunately can't die a good old man. You see? Occasionally it happens. Then of course they praise. Some people die old as well, in the sense that they have earned a good name in the society and they are remembered with love. But most often, they're relegated to sort of life which people think that they're only given up to evil and there's no goodness in them. But a young man, when he dies, first of all sentimentally, he creates an emotion in everybody, even those